right. How is everybody? Anybody enjoying fall break? Yeah, everybody's like, no, I wish I was on vacation on a beach or somewhere. Somebody tell me something great that's happened so far in your fall break. I know somebody won sectionals. Silver Creek, soccer, won sectionals. Woo woo. Nice. Yes, someone else that raised your hand though. Tell me something great from your fall break. Yes, Ella. You went to Florida? Nice. Hopefully the nice parts of Florida. Okay. Very nice, very nice. Yes, Jesse? You got a job? I thought you worked at Texas Roadhouse, bro. You're not throwing rolls anymore? All right. Where's your new job? It's a retail store. He's not saying. That means it's H&M. No. Okay, somebody else. Tell me something great about your fall break so far. Something good. It doesn't even have to be great. Yeah, Casey. Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg's awesome. Nice. Looks like you guys had a lot of fun there. Very cool. Somebody else. Bailey, you're dying to raise your hand. So yes, tell me. What? You went to Duncan? With a couple of jits? Okay, my kids. All right, thanks for doing that. Yeah, they hopefully didn't spend all your money there. Yes, Anna? I rested. You rested. What is that like? Tell me. It sounds so nice. Stressful. Nice. Anybody else? Anything good happened on your break? Did I hear a certain... Oh, yes. And then I'm coming to football next. Yes. You quit your job. Yes. Woo! Although I'm sad, I can't visit you anymore at Starbucks. I'm sad. All right. You getting a job at Dunkin'? Maybe. Oh, it's a maybe. She might continue the barista way. But I did hear a certain football team is now undefeated that was not undefeated. Is that true? Is that true? All right. And I have to settle this, all right? Now, if you're not a Charlestown person or if you're a Charlestown hater, don't let it be known here. Yeah, it tastes like what? But I got to know from the Charlestown people, do you actually consider that a win when the other team forfeited a win? I hear yes from the back. Did the ineligible player, make the difference in the game? You don't know who it was. It was obviously the guy that was 25 that had a massive beard, okay? That got held back for like 7 years. Providence, were they the cheaters? All that matters is they're 8-0. Are you guys going to be undefeated? I mean, are you going to, how many more games do you have? 1, 2? You're going to win? Okay, easy. You going to keep, are you guys, you lost your first game? Oh. But at least Silver Creek soccer's in regionals now, right? Silver Creek's in the soccer regionals for any soccer fans in the building. Woot woot. Oh. Hey, when Charlestown wins regionals, come let me know, okay? Come talk to me, all right? You will? Okay, let's go. Yes. Good. Okay, I'm glad good things are happening in your life. It's good to see everybody tonight, especially on fall break for, I think, everybody here. It's also good to see some people I haven't seen in a while, so super glad you're back. Also want to say a big thanks to my friend Olivia for shooting that video with me. So if we can't give it up for Olivia. I really appreciate her stepping in this week and shooting that video. I told her about our new series called 4 Lies, which multiple people have already told me we need to get some merch made from this graphic. I can't take any credit for the graphic. That's all Sarah, who was playing the bass up here. She's a beast. Wherever you are, Sarah, you're a beast. You're a beast. So she killed the graphic, but we were shooting that bumper, and we're talking about this new series. And also shout out cred to Chaz and Silas. They kind of came up with the idea of this series name and the concept behind it. And so I want to tell you guys a little bit about what it means. We just came out of our series called R4 about who we are, our identity, our culture, that we want to create kindness, caring for the lost, being together, being real. And I really enjoyed being able to teach that series, and I hope you guys were able to take a lot from that. If you missed any in the last couple weeks, I encourage you guys to hop on our YouTube and check those out to kind of catch up. But the idea kind of spurned from those guys and from praying of, okay, we have the 4 things that we really want to work on. We want to try to become what these things mean more of, but because of that, because we want to strive to be better in our walk with Jesus, we want to be obedient, we want to look different to the world, because of that, Satan's going to attack us. And he's going to attack you more and more and more if you really press into your faith. And I tell every person that is struggling in their faith or struggling with a sin or going through somewhere, I tell every person, hey, if you decide that you're going to give that to God, if you decide that you want to push through that, again, you have to make the choice every single day. We've talked about that in the last couple weeks. It is about denying yourself every day so that you can draw closer to your Savior. So it's up to you guys. Will you make that choice to live out the 4? If you will, you got to be on the lookout for some of these lies that Satan throws your way. Olivia mentioned at the end of the video, the first lie I want to talk about is you do you. Selfishness. How many of you guys think that selfishness is running rampant across the circles of people you're around, your schools? Like, is it everywhere? I see people like, yes. Selfishness is a real deal, right? I think it started all the way back in the beginning with Cain and Abel, when Cain got jealous of Abel's sacrifice, and Abel being, his sacrifice being pleasing to God, him being in that right relationship with God. And from that jealousy stemmed some of that selfishness, and he went and took his brother's life. So selfishness has been with us since the very beginning. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about why. Why does Satan use the lie of selfishness? You do you. It's all about you. Why does he use that lie against us? Kind of our mission statement for tonight is this. We have what Satan's mission is, and then we have what God's mission is, or our mission. Satan's mission is this: to conform our lives to the likeness of the world. Satan does that by saying, hey, you do you. Every day, just do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. Do what will get you over the top or past this person or at this level. That's what Satan says. Satan says, conform your life, pattern your life, mold your life around yourself. I think that can be even as strategic on Satan's part as your future. What do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to make of yourself? I don't think those things are inherently bad things, desires, passions we have. But Satan can use those things for us to just constantly look at ourselves and that be the measuring tool. Does that make sense? Like where we're looking at ourselves and we're saying, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. This is where I have to get. This is what I want to become. And then it only becomes about what we get out of it. It doesn't come back to what's God's desire for our life. And that's what God's mission is for us, to conform our lives to the likeness of Jesus. The likeness of Jesus meaning our life is patterned after Jesus. We walk, we live the way that he lived. We do everything we can to be obedient to him every day, knowing that his grace is sufficient for us, for you, for me, because you're going to mess up. You're going to be selfish. I know a lot of people here in the room, I would say pretty well. I know that those people, I know that you're selfish, okay? Because I am too. I mean, most of the decisions, most of my thoughts, most of the time when I react to something, it's based off of what I think is right. It's based off what I think is best. So in a lot of ways, we're inherently selfish. And we have to push against that grain in order to conform our lives to the likeness of Jesus. I like this quote that I found on selfishness. It says this: at the heart of the matter, you do you, is choosing selfishness instead of selflessness. So at the very heart of the matter, and if looks like I had humility there instead of humility. At the very heart, the very core of what we're talking about here, of you doing you, if you choose selfishness, you're choosing that over humility. Humility can't exist. Lowering yourself so that Christ can be elevated in your life, it cannot exist if we're being selfish. That's my opinion. That's what I believe. It's almost like we squash, we stomp out any ability for us to be humble, for us to learn when we're selfish. And I'm sure a lot of you in the room right now, if you just took a moment, could think about moments in your life, maybe today, maybe in the last week, or maybe other big moments in your life where you're like, man, I really messed that relationship. I really messed that friendship up. Man, I really got off on the wrong track because I was being selfish. And man, even if that person was in the wrong, even if I felt this way, I chose to react selfishly. And what good did it gain you? I heard somebody say, actually today to me, they were struggling through a situation with someone in their family that's left their home. And this person loves this person very much. And they said, I just don't know what to do. I haven't seen this person in a week, and I know where they're at. I think they're safe, but they said, I don't know what to do. And I just want to see this person. I just want to know they're okay. And so we were talking about that and kind of praying through it a little bit. But there was one thing that this person said to me that I kind of had to think through and respond a little bit differently. The person said to me, they said, at the end of the day, I want them to see that I'm right. And that wasn't out of like selfish ambition. I don't think the heart was. But still the thought of like, I want them to see that I'm right and they're wrong. I want them to see that I know the better way and they don't. The response for me was like, okay, but we have to show grace there. We have to show love there. You guys know, like, if you get into an argument with somebody, if you have a quarrel with somebody, if you got beef with somebody, like, being right in the end doesn't restore the relationship, right? Doesn't restore the relationship. Even if you sit down with a group of people and you're just like, hey, here's what happened, here's what wrongs need to be made right, and you messed up. Even if that person says, yeah, I did, it doesn't mean that everything's perfect again. Relationship just isn't restored perfectly just because fault is admitted. We have to have a spirit of humility, a spirit of love, a spirit of kindness. And at the end of the day, it's about, are we going to choose to be humble instead of being selfish? I think, and I'm sure a lot of people in the room will agree with this, guys struggle with selfishness a little more than girls do. I think so. Pride is something that is our befall, typically. And it's not just sports. It's this, it's that. I can't think of all the examples, but like, I know as a guy, like I really struggle with that. Just being selfish. Selfish with my time, selfish with what I think is right. And so, to the guys in the room, what are we going to do about that? Don't worry, I'll get to the girls a little bit too. What are we going to do about that, guys? How hard is it if you're a dude to like sit down and just be like, yeah, I'm wrong. I'm being selfish about that. It's really hard for me to do that as a guy. Really hard. So what will it take if you're a guy to say, man, I really need to learn humility. I need to look at the example of Jesus. Look at how he interacts with people, how he loves people. What are you going to do with that? Dudes in the room, what are you going to do with that? All right, ladies. Y'all have selfishness too, but in different ways, right? Maybe sometimes for ladies, the selfishness is over one person over another, like a friendship, a relationship. Maybe being selfish as a lady is, I don't know, maybe it's things that sometimes have to do a little bit more self-image. And not that guys don't struggle with that too, but maybe sometimes even as a woman, you could struggle with that. What choice will you make on being humble? What choice will you make that will benefit your friends, benefit the people around you if you're a lady? How will you practice humility? Us guys, we got our own stuff to deal with. And you guys know that. Like, we got our own stuff to deal with. Okay? Whether you're a dude in the room that's 16, 18, or whether you're a guy that's 30 some years old or 40 or 50 and you're married, like, you know, like, selfishness, man, it is hard. It is hard to overcome. But we can't do it on our own. We can't do it on our own. So what choice will you make when it comes to selfishness? Philippians 2:3-4 says this, maybe the best scripture that I know in the New Testament on this topic. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Nothing. Guys, how do we start there? How do we put that into practice, especially if we're really doing poor at it? I think we got to look at what it says on the flip side. It says, rather, it says, in humility, value others above yourselves. Maybe a simple step you could take this week is you just ask God every day, man, God, just help me think of others above myself. Help me think of my brother, my sister, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my dad, my mom, my friend, whatever. Help me think of them above myself. Not just to make them happy, but to put them above you. What would it look like to think about somebody above yourself? I don't remember, guys, truly. I don't remember the last time I woke up and told myself or asked God to help me to think about others above myself. And some days I think I'm better at it than other days, but I don't remember the last day that I said, God, just help me do this. God, I can't do it on my own. Just help me be humble. Help me think about others above myself. What would that look like for you on your fall break, or as you get ready to go back to school? Paul says, you don't look at your own interests, but the interests of others. Some of the coolest stories I've heard about people finding like their passions and their dreams and some of the things that God stirs up within them, not just the things they want to do in life, but something really that's God-oriented, that God put inside of you. Some of the coolest stories I've ever heard is from when people served someone else, is when people went out of their way and they did something that benefited someone else. And I don't just mean a missions trip or a service project. I mean just across the board when somebody did something and they saw the value that it brought someone else and the joy that brought, that act brought them. When's the last time you did something for someone else and you didn't expect anything in return? Nothing. No money, not a friendship, nothing. When's the last time we did that? When you do that, God will begin to stir up incredible things in your heart. Some people in this room already know that because they've experienced that or they're experiencing it. God's showing them their path, and it's not all about them. What would it take for all of us to get on that same page together where we're looking out for the interests of others? We start here. What would it look like for us to always look out for each other's interests? For us to not get caught up in quarrels and things that would drive us apart from each other, but what would it look like for us to look out for the interests of someone else? To listen instead of talk, to be there, to be a friend. John 8:44. It's a really good verse on what Satan says about selfishness. It says this, the devil has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and he's the father of lies. The devil's always hated anything that didn't benefit his world, his mission for us to look out for ourselves. And that's because that's part of his character. He's the father of lies. I remember in my life when I started becoming more comfortable with lying or being dishonest and really just becoming more selfish. Man, Satan had a hold of me, guys. Satan had a hold of me. And if you've struggled with lies, deceit, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of times that's something deep and dark in us that we don't want to share with anyone else. But man, Satan can really get a hold of us with lies, with our pride. Why? Because it says he's the father of lies. He wants nothing more than to lie to you, to get you as far away from God, from God's people as he can. So we have to look out for that, because that's what Satan does. He says, man, you do you. Look out for you. And a lot of times it's easy for us to believe that lie. One of the examples we looked at, and I just want to share this briefly with you guys. I hope maybe in life groups you guys can get into this story a little bit, or you can read about it this week. But in the book of Esther, who here has ever heard about the story of Esther before? Esther saving her people? Okay, definitely all the ladies in the room have heard this one. So Esther had a choice to make, and in Esther chapter 4, Esther has this scenario in her life where she finds out some information and she has a choice to make. And the choice means her risking her own life to save others. And she has to go before the king, and she hasn't been summoned to come before the king. And typically if that happens in this day and time, like, you're dead. Like, you're a goner. You don't come before the king unless you are summoned. But Esther has this choice to make. And I'm sure within her soul, within her heart, I'm sure there was a conflict. I'm sure Satan was present in that situation, trying to speak lies to her, the father of lies. He said, man, look out for you. You're a queen. You got everything you need. Don't worry about your people. Don't worry about God's people. Don't risk your life for them. You got it made. But Esther went against what the father of lies said. She lived for the truth, and God honored that. So if you guys can, in your life group, maybe get into Esther chapter 4 a little bit. Talk about the example that she set. Why did she set that example? I think it's because Esther saw that she couldn't be captured by the father of lies. That she knew in her life what she went through. That she came to a crossroads in her life where she said, man, I got to either really lay my life down, I really have to deny myself fully, 100%, or I just have to give in to what Satan says. And she made the choice to follow God no matter what she risked. And the stakes are the same for us, it just looks different. The stakes for you may be risking friendship or reputation or status, whatever it means, whatever that looks like for you. What choice will you make in the way that you follow God or the way that you follow what Satan says with the lies that he teaches us? C.S. Lewis once said this: selfishness has never been admired. It's never been admired. It's never been something that's like, yeah, like that's something that I admire in someone else. It might be something that we admit, like, yeah, selfishness is something people struggle with, and to a lot of people it's not a big deal. But why is it something that hasn't been admired? I think it's because it's something that we're so easily trapped by in the world that we live in today. Our time, our worries, what will make us look good, it all comes back to idolatry. What's in our heart? What's important to us? If the things of the world, if status, reputation, friendships, if those things are most important to us, we'll always behave in a selfish manner, in a way that conforms to idolatry. Because we'll always just seek to live out the life that we want to live for us, the best life that we know to live. But there's always consequences for our actions. And I remember one of my mentors said to me, one of the things a few years ago, said to me something that has stuck with me so closely to my heart. It's helped me a lot. He said, Luke, in situations where you can either choose to be humble or you can choose to be selfish, what will determine what type of man, what type of person you are you prepared to react to that? Are you proactive? What's your relationship with God look like? Are you deep in your faith? Are you following Christ daily? Are you denying yourself? Or are you just reacting to each situation? Because at that time I was struggling with some decisions, some relationships in life, and And even as much as I thought, man, I'm justified, I'm right, it wasn't accomplishing anything in my life, nothing fruitful. He reminded me, man, you have to have a humble heart. To pursue humility, you have to have a humble heart, the same heart that Christ had. So I'm going to leave you guys three things you can take with you this week and talk about in groups a little bit to pursue humility over selfishness. The three things are this. First is taking a step. What does it look like for you to take a simple step in being humble this week? Maybe typically you don't look out for other people. You don't ever show someone a random act of kindness. Or maybe when you do those things, it's pretty superficial. It's not really coming from a humble heart. What's a step you can take to be humble this week? Maybe it's talking to that friend or that family member that you're struggling with, and it's just simply saying, hey, I know we've had some of this stuff going on, and I just want you to know, like, I'm sorry. I love you, and I hope this can be made right. Maybe that's the step you need to take. Maybe the step you need to take is you need to dig into God's word, and you just need to see what the example of Jesus was like and the way that he lived, the way that he was like with his followers, with the crowds that followed him. Take a step. Write that down. Take a step this week. Put it on the background of your phone this week. God, help me take a step in being humble. Second thing is this, and it goes along with the first thing. Take some time to just self-reflect. So much of our life is we miss self-reflection because we're always going. We're always busy. I mean, even me, like, even when the times I'm like, man, I just chill today, like, I've had a good day, and I have had some time when no one's talking to me. I'm still, like, listening to music, listening to podcasts, checking fantasy sports, whatever it is. Like, I'm still doing stuff, and I'm not slowing down and just being like, all right, God, how can you help me? Like, what can I do for you? We get ourselves so wrapped up in everything, so focused on the next thing to the next thing, that we never take time to just reflect, like, all right, God, what can you show me? What can you show me about your heart? How can I be humble this week? Take some time to self-reflect. What a great time to do that then on your fall break. Take some time tonight before you go to bed. Shut off your phone. Leave it in the other room. Just be quiet for a little while. Just say, God, I just want you to work in me. I want you to speak to me. Show me what it looks like to be humble. We overcomplicate it. I know I do. Sometimes you just need to self-reflect. Third thing is this: let God use you. Just let God use you this week. Let him teach you humility. Let him teach you that all the things that you do, that all the things that you want, all the things you strive for, they really don't amount up to what his grace really did for you. God puts things within us for us to live out, for us to walk out, for us to be joyful in. But the world gets us so focused on, man, just get ready for that next thing. Man, just make sure you get that next score so you can get those scholarships. Just make sure and don't mess up that play so you don't cost the team, whatever it is. What does it look like this week for you? Just let God use you a little bit. I mean, I know for me, like, I'm already thinking, like today I was already thinking, in this weekend, and I had a really good weekend, just some time to spend with family and do a little bit of self-reflection. But I know even this weekend, it was hard for me to shut off, like, what do I have next week? What do I have the next week? And like I was even talking to Michelle about it a little bit. We were like looking at our calendars like multiple times. We're like, hey, what do we have next week? And it's like, whoa, wait a second. Slow down. Reflect a little bit. Enjoy what God has right in front of us. Let God use you this week. So I'm going to pray, and then we're going to go off to groups. And guys, my prayer for you guys is you go to groups, is get real with each other. Because I know a lot of you guys get ready for your first or your second week of fall break, that God would speak in your life humility, so that you would be able to take a step in that this week. Okay? Let me pray for you guys. God, we love you. Thank you for your son. Thank you for the example that he set for us. God, I pray that the words that I've shared tonight would not return void. I pray that they were not words that I just came up with, but they were spoken from your heart, because that's what I wanted, God. I wanted your people here, these students, these adults, to see your heart, to see what it looks like to be humble, to be kind, to look out for others, God, to take time to self-reflect, to take a step in humility this week, instead of us being selfish, instead of us wanting what we want. So I pray, God, that each of them would be filled with your Spirit tonight, would be filled with a heart for humility, God. Whatever it looks like for them to take that step, help each of us take that step from tonight on through this week, so that we can be better followers of you, ready to go out on mission to conform our lives to your likeness, Jesus. Thank you for being so holy. Thank you for being so good. We love you, God. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.